Hello everyone, welcome to Roma Theory. This is your weekly AS Roma talk where we will be discussing weekly topics. We're going to discuss, the situations we're in, positions we're in, looking at insights of games. And I think this is a special one. This is a very important one because this is the 10th game week weekly talk. And I normally, this is me personally, and I know a lot of people around the world do this, but when you judge a season for a football team, you kind of tend to break it down into various different sections and then give judgments. And the first section to give judgments definitely has to be after the 10 game week mark. 10 game weeks have gone in the league, and we'll discuss this today. We'll discuss after 10 game weeks, at what point are we? Did we satisfy our initial demands? Did we have to improve? Did we have to do that? Did we have to do that? So we'll definitely speak about that today. And I mean, another massive topic of this weekly talk is injury crisis. There are a few players that it feels like they're not coming back. I don't know what it is, but it just feels like they're not coming back. Where is Smalling? Where is Renato Sanchez? And ultimately, where is Paulo Dybala? The most important player in this team. Yes, the most creative player in this team, and therefore the most fundamental player to this team. So these are all things that we're going to discuss today. I think first of all, I think it's good to start with the 10th game week mark judgment. I mean, you look at these first 10 game weeks in the league, and then you look at the table, and Roma is 8th position with 14 points. However, it could be 9th because Lazio is playing tonight. And it's not good. It definitely isn't good. I mean, at the start of the season, after 10 game weeks, I was not expecting Roma to be 8th/9th in the league. I expected it to be higher up. I think you have to take in consideration many different things. I don't think there has been one game out of these first 10 game weeks where Lukaku, Dybala, Pellegrini, and Renato Sanchez played all together. And that is already a massive statement, because if you spend an entire transfer window building this team and then these four players never play together, it sends massive exclamation marks to everyone who is part of this team, to everyone who watches this team week in and week out, because it really suggests to you the fragility, and it really emphasizes the fragility of this team. This team has never played with a full starting 11, and that is definitely one of the reasons. But again, the reason why we're 9th is because of the initial season, how the season started. It's the lost points against Salernitana, it's the lost points against Verona, it's the lost points against Genoa, which, had we gotten full points in against these three teams, add 9 points to where we are now. 14 plus 9 is 23. We would be second with Juventus at 23 points. You see how things change so quickly. And yet, you see what I say every time, it's always going to link back to this terrible start of the season. Our problems are always going to link back to this terrible start of the season. It's those 3 game weeks. It's those 3 games that is the reason why we're 8th, 9th at time of speaking, is the reason why we're not in top 4. Because it's not the defeat yesterday. Who cares? Had we won against Salernitana, Verona, and Genoa, 1-0 again, a 1-0 in Milan, a defeat. Oh my God, I would have signed for it. But it's that defeat accumulated to the defeat against Verona, to the defeat against Genoa, to I call it a defeat against Salernitana, even though it's not a defeat, because Salernitana is rock bottom in the league at time of speaking. It's those lost points. And it can't be a positive start to the season. You know, I can be here speaking positive. I can be here saying, oh, it was a great start to the season, but I would be here lying and I wouldn't be here saying real things. And that's not who I am. So ultimately, after 10 game weeks, I have been a little bit disappointed. But there, again, it's not like our objectives have now become impossible. We're not far off from top four. I've mentioned this yesterday in the match reaction. It's not impossible, but something which I've mentioned a lot and will mention again. We have built since Lukaku's arrival. The only game that we've lost against small mediocre sides was the Genoa one. So the fact that Lukaku came and that we've basically won every single small mediocre game is very impressive. So that was your initial key to success, getting a player which changes the equilibrium against teams which park the bus, especially when you don't have Dybala. And now it looks like with Lukaku on the pitch, Dybala when he'll be back, Renato Sanchez when he'll be back, it looks like we've kind of, we're a better team against small sides. That next step now is starting to get something from big games. And that is the ultimate step this team needs to make if it wants to push into that top four. It's getting something from our competitors. Calendar now is gonna, it is definitely toughening. The calendar now is not an easy calendar anymore because in the next few months we will be playing against Lazio, against Atalanta, against Juventus, against Napoli. Then we'll be playing against Milan again. We'll play against Fiorentina. We'll have to play against Bologna, and the way they're playing now, they could easily qualify for top four. We have to play against Sassuolo. The calendar is not in our favor. And this is why it's so important to, I'm not going to say start dominating big games, because Roma isn't a team with dominating identities. And that's not what I'm expecting, but I'm expecting greater control in these games. That's what I want to see. And that's not what I want to see. That's what needs to happen if we want to break into that top four glass. We've been lucky that our top four competitors have also been extremely inconsistent, because had our top four competitors not been extremely inconsistent, right now, top four would almost be impossible. But yeah, we've been lucky that the likes of Lazio has been even worse, kind of weaker than us. We've been lucky that Napoli has turned out to be a very different team to last season's Napoli. We've been lucky that Milan is a beatable team, even though we lost to them. In fact, I'd actually say the only consistent team up to now has been Juventus. That's the best team up to now, in my opinion, has been Inter in terms of how they play, the quality they have. But in terms of consistency, I think Juventus has been the best team in the league so far. So it really is time to start, grabbing things and making our opponents in big games fall into difficulties against us. But one thing which needs to happen, and this is not something which we can massively control, is injuries. I mean, you look at the situation we're in. Dybala's injured. Renato Sanchez is injured. Spinazzola was injured and it looks like he'll be back on Sunday. Smalling has been injured for, it feels like 70 years, and we've not received any news on him. So the question which I really want to ask to the staff, to the physios, is, did you kill Smalling and Renato Sanchez? Did you poison them? What has happened to Smalling and Renato Sanchez And where are they? I am not joking when I say I haven't seen him. I haven't seen them play. I haven't seen footage of them. I haven't seen them around. I haven't seen them appear in rumors and in newspaper art. They've disappeared from our radars. Where are Smalling and Renato Sanchez? Where are they? They're disappeared. They've vanished away. When will we get them back? Journalists keep on attending Jose's press conferences, and they always keep on asking, when will Smalling be back? And Mourinho looks even more confused than us. Mourinho doesn't even know when Smalling will be back. What has happened to Chris Smalling? And I'd argue that yes, Smalling is vital, and we know how vital Smalling is. But at time of speaking, we need Renato Sanchez more than Smalling. Because our defense is and has improved. Yesterday our defense played well. Yes, it's that little mistake which cost us 3 points. But overall, I think our defense has improved. Ndika has massively improved. Llorente, in my opinion, is improving in terms of leadership and, solidity. Mancini is always there, never injured. We've experienced Cristante at the back, and he's played phenomenally. We've clearly improved defensively, and also the stats show this. In these last games, we've conceded way less goals since the last international break. So what we need right now, it really is that player who gets into the box, passes, physique, box to box, and all of that. It really is Renato Sanchez. Obviously not speaking about Dybala, because Dybala is the key to success. And that leads me on to Paulinho. Again, rumours have it that he'll be back on Sunday for the Lecce game. Now, realistically speaking, right, we've got Lecce on Sunday at home. Lecce haven't won a game recently in a lot of game weeks. Dybala should never start Sunday's game. Because what we're basically risking if we keep on forcing Dybala to be back, which Dybala needs to be back, but if we keep on anticipating his return and we place him starting from the very first minute against Lecce, then what happens if he gets injured again? And again, this question, you can ask this question to anybody when speaking about Dybala, and everybody will say the same thing. Dybala's one hell of a fragile player. But you look at our calendar, and you look at the fact that we've got the derby on Sunday, next Sunday, in 2 weeks. You look at the fact that we need to play against every big team in the league up to now. Why would we ever risk Dybala in a Lecce game on Sunday? So Dybala, in my opinion, shouldn't start. Dybala needs to be back, in my opinion, on Sunday, next Sunday, in 2 weeks' time against Lazio. And again, this is a weekly talk, so I'm not gonna obviously speak about the future, but we've got one of, if not the biggest game of the season coming up in a few weeks. We've got a derby. It's Lazio against Roma. Now, you see, last season we lost 2 derbies in one. And it's not something which happens every time. And it's something which can't happen again. So this year we have an immense responsibility of winning derbies. Because if we lose 2 derbies this season as well, it would be embarrassing. It would be embarrassing. Now, the first derby that we're going to play is Lazio against Roma. So technically it's an away game, so it's easier for you to lose, if we can say that. But we have this team has an immense pressure of not failing derbies this season. Derbies mean a lot for every single fan. The derby is the most important game of a fan's season. So if this team loses derbies this season too, the fans are going to lose faith. A derby for this team means everything. It means commanding the city. It means glory. It means you can boast yourself. You can embarrass. It means everything. We cannot lose them, and I'm being very serious here. Losing yet 2 derbies would be embarrassing. Obviously, we've spoken about the league. Things need to improve and all of that. Europa League wise, things are going very well. In fact, it's very good that we have taken Europa League so seriously, because now that we've gotten 9 points out of 3 games, and one of these 3 points came from our biggest competitors in that group stage, Slavia Prague, now in the Europa League and in those mid-week games, we can allow more rotations, we can allow more players to rest, and that's very good. Because it means that for the weekend game, a lot of these players which would have started in these games if we hadn't gotten 4 points can start, can rest, and then can start in the weekend. So that's a very good thing. Europa League wise, yeah, I mean, we're playing well Europa League. You can't say anything about that. Again, moving forward, advice, post game week 10 advice for me, I've said it at the start, it's starting to command, not command, because this team is not a team which commands and starts bossing. I've understood this. But what I want to see, and my post-game week 10 advice before ending this weekly talk is, we need to start grabbing points in big games. That is kind of, that's it. If we can start winning / grabbing very crucial points, like the point yesterday, that 1 point, that 0-0, which then wasn't a 0-0, would have been a massive point. Grabbing something from big games, starting to play more, not more calmly, but more aggressively in big games, starting to not be scared, releasing that bus from the box, release it. Yes, defend, but also attack. Counter-attack, yes, but also shift that, shift the team. So yeah, that's it. But yeah. Dybala should enter the last minutes to get a little more fit. We need him against Lazio. Let's hope Lecce will be an easy game. We can't make mistakes. If we don't win at home against Lecce, I genuinely lost words. We have way too many injury-prone players. Renato and Smalling gone missing. Is Dybala back for Lecce? He should be back, but again, do we play him? So the Nitana game was mad ASF. We need to collect more points and win more direct matches. Agree. I cannot see Napoli getting top 4 with Rudy Garcia. No, that's why we need to exploit this. We need to exploit a weak Napoli side. We need to exploit the fact that Napoli has turned out to be a very different team from last season. That's what we need to do. Because if Napoli starts returning the team it was last season, then once again, top 4 is written. Inter, Milan, Juventus, and Napoli. But we need to try and, keep this fight going now that Napoli is different. It feels lost. Atalanta's winning. Lazio Fiorentina tonight. It's a tough one. Obviously, I'd always want Lazio to lose. But on the behalf of Roma, you'd kind of wish for a draw in that game. Anyways, Lecce play on Thursday, which is a very good point. Right, I'm going to catch you tomorrow. If you haven't already, smash the like button. Also, go watch the fan podcast number 3. Me and one of you guys went over the Champions League, Serie A Champions League teams, and we both said the Serie A team, which in our opinion will get the furthest in this Champions League edition. So yeah, go watch that, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a great start to the week. Don't forget to smash a like in this video. Subscribe if you're new. Share the link of this channel with your families and friends, and let me know down below your thoughts and opinions on this weekly talks topics. Talk to you soon. Take care, and yeah, sempre forza Roma. Simo out.